Hi there, Valerie Chodine here, and welcome to Plan With Me 2021, where I combine the comforts of home with art journaling and planning in my planner journal. Welcome to May. This month, I'm recreating beauty by celebrating the extravagant beauty of flowers in my journal. If you want to see how I painted this page, check out the other Plan With Me 2021 video for May. Now here's the calendar page, full of blossoms and banner, and of course, cups of coffee. In this video, I show you how to make this May calendar page. And check out the other video to see how to make the gratitude pages, workflow pages, and the weekly calendar pages. You can find all the Plan With Me tutorials on my blog at valeriechodine.com. Let's get started. I've drawn my calendar here in pencil first, just because it gives me a good idea for the layout, and I'm using some stencils to do the May and the grid, and then I'm using a portion of the banner stencils to do the May portion here. So I'm going to just take my 03 size and trace around this and do much of my pen first on this page. And I could do this with paint or with pen. I think this time I'm just going to go in with the pen, outline it, and then fill it in. I think it'll be easier to fill in with a bigger size, like number 5. Could try an 8, but let's see how the 5 works, just to save some time. I could have probably done the whole thing with the 5. Then connecting, making the bridges so it doesn't look like a stencil. And I can even kind of point up some of the lines if I want to. I think that's fine. Okay, going back with my number 3 size. And I can connect some of these two, which will help make it pull together a little bit better. Now I'm going to go in with what I'm sure of first, which is what I always start with. And I'm using number 5 for this part. I'm actually going to start down here. And I'm not going to draw the center line. I'm going to leave that blank. The page kind of separates that, so I'm going to let it do its job there. Okay, there's my calendar. I love how quick that goes. Switch back to my number 3, and I could do different things for in here. I thought of daisies, but I kind of like the idea of a rose, so maybe I'll practice. Let's see if it's like this. Would that look good in there? Or maybe start from the outside in a circle. I think if I added color that'd be good. And I think I want to do it in a smaller size, like the 005. Okay, probably should have decided that beforehand, but I guess you get to see my process. I've fiddled around with daisies, or I could do every other one. What if I did that? see if I can keep track of it. Okay, let's try that. So I'm just going to do every other one. We'll see how this works. Oh, daisy, 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 rose. Okay, now for the daisy. I'm going to draw a little line down here. With the thread there, I'm not going to use my stencil. Draw around it. Okay, so there is the in-betweens. And now for the numbers, I'm just going to put it in the very center. Okay, there is my calendar. Now I'm going to move on with the 03 and put in my text and my flowers and part of this here. And start with what's easiest. For me, the daisy's the easiest, so I'm starting there. And then I think, let's see, probably a rose there and there and there. So 3 of them, and then some daisies, and then either some lilacs type of thing. So let's go from there. I don't want it to look even, I want it to look more like a flower, so petals going around and around. I think this makes it easier, and then they end up looking kind of like that with some leaves. This seems a little wide. I'm gonna try my number 1 size. And I know that lilacs have a heart-shaped leaf, so I might fit some of that in here too. But before I do that, I'm gonna start over here. Now I'm going to try here, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with the outside because I am getting a little too big in there, and I can always go there, and I think it'd be easier and more pleasing to just keep it simple over here. So I'm going to keep this a much more simple doodle kind of flower. I'm going to put maybe some a little bit of background to tie this whole thing together, but I'm going to draw the different elements first. So I'll just do this with the cups and the saucers as you've seen me do before. So I've done the text. Now I am going to go back and do a bit of, just carry this over at least a little bit. I think it needs it. And maybe some of these, sometimes I do these little whirlicue things to help. And probably will add more. Okay, time to erase. And now time for watercolor. For the painting, I'm going to use a cosmetic sponge and the stencil for this, some water in a spray bottle that I am going to activate my watercolors by spritzing them. Water, paper towel, and 2 brushes, size 6 or 2. If I had a 4, I might use that, or so just kind of the rounder, medium, and then a small. Okay. Then I'm going to mix some of the paint as it activates here. I'll also be using gold, but I usually add the gold last. I'm going to be using some greens. That's green gold. This is sap green. And this is Viridian, so you can see the differences there. Sap green is my favorite, so I usually use more of that green than the others, although I'll need to add some more water to that one. And then I'm going to use some magenta down here, as well as a few others. Magenta mixes really well with the blues and purples to make the lavenders, but also this is, I have 2 colors in here. I think it's Pyrrole Light is what I put in there now. And I am going to use some diarylide yellow, I think, because it's my favorite here. And for the lavender, I'm going to use some cerulean blue. I could actually use some dioxazine purple and some other blue or some ultramarine, but because this is a little bit duller of a color, it has a white base, I'm going to use that, and then I can put a little bit of the dioxazine. That's a very strong color, so I'm keeping it in its corner. I got some transparent yellow iron oxide that I really like in the acrylics, so I got some here, and I'm gonna put some out here for my banner. I just still kind of like the old world banners, and that's the raw umber. No, that's not raw umber. That's the raw sienna. And so I could use that, but this is more transparent. This is transparent red iron oxide, so I could actually use that too. But I'm going to clean out my water. Probably should have used a stiffer brush so I don't wear this one down to mix, so just sidebar there. I'll be right back with some clean water. All right, to start with, I am going to do my banner, and I am going to test to see that looks about right. I'll definitely need some more, little more paint. So I'm going to put more out. Here I go. Little too much water. Have to remember I did some in watercolor paper, but it is not quite the same, so I need to use less water. I keep having to remind myself of that. So it's different, or I could just kind of make solid watercolor and then go in when it's dry and do some more shading, which I might do that. Okay, I do want it darker towards the center though, so if I do that, I can just, I don't even have to stay in the lines. Okay, my favorite flower when I was growing up was Double Delight. Now it had more yellow than this, but it had a mixture of kind of a magenta and yellow. And it was very subtle, not really like this, but it's going to represent that. So times of joy and wonder in nature. Now I'm going to put some metallics on there, and I'm going to activate them with water. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go in with some pen and I'm going to do a little bit of pen work here. And I'm going to spray this again. I'm going to use some Posca pen. I like it better with that darker line in there, so I'm going to go in here and do the same thing and kind of go over those black lines. Yeah. Now I'm going to go in with my number 2 and paint some white gold. Definitely need to wait for that to dry. I could go in with a little bit of this silver if I wanted to do highlights like this. I think the daisies would look good now that I think about this with that gold, white gold center. So I'm going to go in and touch them up with this. Okay, that's dry. Now I can go in with my 03 pen and outline it again. Re-outline seems to be my theme of the day. I had too many layers up here with the first gold, and then I changed my mind, and I'll need to go back and touch that up with pen. You know how it goes. One thing leads to another. But then in the end, it just seems to work out. So I am going to outline the inside of this and even possibly the outside with a double line. When I kind of get messy, then I do it intentionally, and so at least it looks planned. It's not quite planned. I'll need to wait till this dries much more than I did wait, and then I'll go in and make it a double line. I won't show that on tape. You'll just see that as it's done. Okay, I think after this dries and I do that, I'm ready to go on to the next page. I may do just one little thing, and that is spatter this with a little bit of paint that I have here. So I have my toothbrush, I dip it in water and then tap it on my paper towel, and then I'm just going to go in with some of the colors that I have here. I could use any, but I'm going to just use a little of the magenta around the edges. I could also go in with the stencil. I thought of doing that. I still may. You never know. And then a little bit of the yellow. And that covers up my smudge there too. Okay. I'm going to call it good until that's done, and you'll see that touched up later. Wanted to show you, I went in here and then I ended up putting some little hatch lines to shade that a little further. And as I was looking, I thought, well, I'm going to add some more of this white gold, this silvery white, I think, because I'm really liking it, and just add some shimmer. I don't even know if you can see it on here. Maybe if I zoom in, let's see if you can see it on here or not, but when the light hits it, you sure can. So I'm just going to add a little bit here and there, like where the coffee cups, adding a little more life to those. And of course that will dry. And now that I see that, I decided just now to add a stroke in the daisy, because the roses have it, and now it seems like it needs something more. I don't even know if you can see it quite on the film though, but because it is white gold, literally white. Okay. Could even, I think I'm gonna stop. I keep saying I could, and then I do something more and something more. I could spatter it with the gold too. So who knows? But let's zoom out again. And I'm going to say it's good. If you see it different later, you'll know I changed my mind. Okay, time to move on. Thank you for joining me for this May Plan With Me 2021 calendar page. Check out the other pages for May and for other months on my blog. For more inspiration and information about e-courses, visit my website at ValerieShodine.com.